Want to get stupid rich in the next bull market? You don't even need to flip NFTs. We're going to go over everything you can do to make money in Web3, Solidity development, DeFi, JavaScript, stocks and options trading, everything you need to know to get rich in the next bull market without having to flip a single NFT. We're talking to NFT God today. Let's get in the video. I'm back with NFT God here on my YouTube channel, and he tweeted out his builder's playbook for 2022. NFT God, welcome back to the channel.
Good to be back, man. Happy to be here.
So the first thing on your builder's playbook for 2022 is to learn about stocks. Why should we learn about stocks?
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. One, because there's actual value behind stocks, like true business value that generates revenue. And so, when I put out a thread and give advice, it's from a place where I learned it myself at some point, and I just want to regurgitate that advice. And so before I got into NFTs, I was big into stocks. I still am very big into stocks. And you have a well-balanced portfolio, right? Like if you're all in NFTs, which is really easy to do, despite me being big into stocks before, at its peak, my 90% of my net worth was NFTs. You want to have a well-balanced portfolio, and you want to have assets that truly generate value like stocks. And so I put some content into that thread around stocks, and I learned the hard way myself. It's really important to be well balanced into a lot of different assets.
Most people just use options to gamble. What is the correct type? And by the way, none of this is financial advice, but what is the correct type of options trading strategy?
Yeah, there is no quote unquote correct way for any investment strategy ever, but another reason I put options in there is I think a lot of people have misrepresented ideas of how to use options. The Robinhood age has brought on the ability to buy options really quickly and get a massive dopamine hit in a few seconds because they are so volatile. What a lot of people, especially in our space, don't really know is there are some conservative, less volatile ways to invest in options. And so I linked to a free course from Tasty Trade, which is how I learned my options trading strategy, which is a more conservative way to actually sell options in a way where you're hedging maybe some of your other positions, or you're getting into stock positions in a more responsible manner.
The next thing you mentioned was JavaScript development, which to me, it's been very intimidating. I have not clicked on the link that you provided in your thread. Why should I get into coding? I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. Why should I get into coding?
Before 2022 and before the metaverse and NFTs, I really think the business people were the ones that pulled the strings on how the world operates, right? The Goldman Sachs, the people at the banks, the next generation of business is going to be done through technology. I'm a big believer in the metaverse, but I think the people building the next financial systems, the metaverse, DeFi, cryptocurrency, are coders. And so I tell this to everyone I know, you got to get into programming, you got to get into coding, because the people building the infrastructure for the next generation are the coders. And typically the first response I get is, oh, that's too challenging, that's too difficult. I look at it, I'm intimidated, I'm confused. I learned it by myself. I am not a tremendously smart person at all, but I just spent a little bit of time every day. I've only gotten to where I am, both career-wise and NFT God, online Web3 persona-wise, because of programming, right? I learned Python actually on the side. It led me to build a stock scanner, which led me to build a crypto scanner, which led me to learn about NFTs, which led to me building this account. Creativity that can come from programming and the ideas that can spawn from it are extremely powerful. And so that's really why I push programming so much.
I agree with you. And a thing that people overlook, I think, in the NFT space is you're going to, and I'm even a person who, contributes to this, is, make $1 million flipping NFTs. We're in a bear market, though, as you point out in this thread, and there are some tools you can learn to help in the bull market. And one of them is Solidity development, which you point out maybe creating projects is, in creating crypto products is more profitable than buying crypto products. Why do you think people haven't really picked that up yet?
Because I think it's a lot easier to press buy on a speculative asset than it is to learn the skill and create. It's a lot easier to consume than it is to create. And at the end of the day, the creators are in a lot better position to earn revenue than the consumers. And so a big reason why I push Solidity as well is, I think that a large portion of the NFTs and cryptocurrency we consume is coming from a very small group of people, and it really hasn't been democratized yet. And by people going in and trying to be creators and learning Solidity, it's going to open up that field of who is actually making profits on this technology we're all enjoying and consuming. And so a couple of points I have is, one, it's a lot easier to create an NFT project than anyone thinks. You write a smart contract in like 10 to 15 minutes and it creates a 10K collection. And two, it is always better to be on the side of creating than it is to consuming. And so I think by learning Solidity, you're touching a lot of those important points.
And you also mentioned Rust development, which I have people hitting me up all the time, and you probably have DMs in your requests somewhere where people are saying, I need to find in devs. You know, I'm an artist, or hey, I'm great at marketing. I've built a community for myself and I'm looking for devs. Rust development, you say, is a potentially in-demand six-figure skill. What is Rust? I don't even know enough about Rust development, but why would this be a six-figure skill?
I currently work in the Web 2 space. I've been in technology my entire career. And so the reason why I recommend Rust is a couple of reasons. One is it is a very quickly growing and in-demand skill. Just on the technology side, a lot of companies are hiring Rust developers. You know, I think the sweet spot for a lot of people in the NFT space is not going full-time Web3. It's learning the skills in Web3 and using that to supplement your career and your Web 2. And so if you learn Rust, one, you are increasing your value in the job space. A lot of people are willing to pay Rust developers $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year to program for them. But two, you're also learning a technology that's important in your passion, which is Web3, because Rust is actually used to build, do Solana programming, right? So I want to learn skills that helps me in 20 different areas, because that's like the highest leverage skill you can learn.
You also mentioned DeFi, future finance. Why?
Yeah, DeFi has a lot of true value in the Web 2 world. And what I mean by that is you can take financial operations that go on in the real world, in the banking system, and cut out the middleman through smart contracts. Now, when people think DeFi, they think a lot of different things. I actually believe most people will probably think, oh, if I buy this coin no one's ever heard of, I'll get 400% return a year, and that's DeFi. In some definitions, that's DeFi. I guess because it's involved with financials and it's decentralized, it's technically DeFi. But what I encourage everyone to do is learn about what is possible with DeFi, what is possible with decentralized smart contracts that can manage financial operations. Get involved, because that's going to be up and coming. I know for a fact that many of the major banks, including JPMC, are currently hiring Solidity developers and smart contract developers, because DeFi will be a part of the future financial process.
The one thing that's sticking with me from this interview is it's easier to consume than create. That is amazing, and that's going to stick with me for a while. Just like a lot of the threads you tweet out. It's funny, we actually did a YouTube video a couple months ago. I'll pin it right here for you guys to check out. You've built a great community for yourself. I think you had under 10,000 followers last time. You've definitely blown up. The next pillar of your builder's playbook is community building, which we've all seen you do successfully. How did you build your Twitter account, and how did you become one of the top NFT thinkers in this space?
I saw a gap in the market in December 2021. So I bought my Mutant Ape in December. It was December 28th. And I kind of joined NFT Twitter. I created my account actually a year before that, but I didn't really get involved. And so I got the Mutant and I thought, okay, I have this now kind of in-demand branding. How do I leverage it and take advantage of it? And so I looked at the market. I looked at kind of the big voices in the market. I used to be in traditional finance Twitter. Like I was involved with that. I started a traditional finance Twitter account. I started a traditional finance blog, and I kind of attempted what I'm doing now, but on like the stock investing side. And the thing with that is 98% of thought leaders in traditional finance on Twitter, their accounts are exclusively dedicated to giving value, whether it's putting on charts and showing what's going on with the chart or breaking down a company's earnings report. And then I looked at it and compared it to Web3, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this at all. It's what's built the culture Web3. I believe without the quote unquote shit posting and memes, there is no Web3, but 100% of thought leaders in Web3 were like memes and things like that. And sometimes engagement farming. And so I saw this kind of gap in the market where, okay, if I come in, I take a more analytical approach. I take what I learned from traditional finance Twitter, and I put my own spin on it for Web3. I might have something of value for the market and for the community. And so I spent 6 months building NFT God, writing 3 threads a week. I started my newsletter same month in January. I had under 1,000 followers the entire time. My threads got at most 20 likes. I was sending a newsletter to a subscription list of under 10 people for those 6 months. I was doing it actually daily for a large part of that time. Right now I'm weekly. I was doing it daily when I had a smaller account. And then come June, I just hit the tipping point, right? Like I got noticed. And then once you hit that tipping point, it's game over and it's just exponential growth from there. To be successful in content creation, you need to do an uncomfortable amount of work when no one's watching. And what I mean by that is you have to find your voice, create content, grind, get no recognition, get no appreciation, and keep doing that and finding ways to improve.
And this is the perfect time to get started. As NFT God points out in his thread, this is the bear market. I don't think it's actually a coincidence that you start to see an uptick in engagement and followers and subscribers when the bear market really hit, because people really had to start digging. You couldn't just post engagement farming on what floor should I sweep. People were actually looking for great content. And that's why to this day, you have 7,000 people subscribed to your newsletter now, including myself. It is the best newsletter out. You've already, launched your newsletter. How can other people leverage a community that they build for themselves on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, in the Web3 space? How can they leverage that in a bull market?
Yeah, as you said, the best time to build is in the bear market for many reasons. There's just not a lot of money-making opportunities in the market when you're in a bear market. So you have a lot more to gain from building yourself and building your skills and building your audience. At the moment, I'd recommend this. 100% of Web3, if you're looking to build a platform in Web3, is on Twitter. There's people on YouTube, there's people on TikTok, there's people here and there, but all of them are on Twitter. So step one is build your audience on Twitter. From there, I recommend at the same time practicing different skill sets. I strongly believe there is a market opportunity at the moment for short form video when it comes to Web3, like the TikTok approach. If I was to go back and I had passion for video, I'd look at the market and I'd say, okay, there's a big gap in, short form video at the moment. And so, if you're looking to build an audience and you're looking to leverage it in new, unique ways.
And so you're speaking mostly about Twitter, and for Twitter, you have to be able to type, you have to be able to write, you have to be able to communicate. And so the last thing in your thread is about writing. And how do people become better writers? How do people become better tweeters?
Be consistent. Do it over and over again. Don't stop. Don't give up. Small improvements. So yes, you need repetitions. Practice makes you better, but you're not going to get better unless you reflect, figure out what's working, figure out what's not working, and then slightly tinker. I was writing threads, as I said, 3 times a week for 6 months before anyone knew who the hell I was. And what I did was every time I wrote a thread, I just went, what worked here? What looked good? What sounded good? And I tinkered it with it a little bit, and eventually got to the point where the quality was good enough where people actually wanted to share it. So, and then not only practice, but also truly reflect and be honest with yourself about what's working and what isn't, and make tiny little tinkers every day. Think about how you can get 1% better with your writing every time you do it. Don't try to, boil the entire ocean. Just find one tiny thing to get better, and you'll eventually get to the point with enough time where you really have your platform and your voice.
To become a great writer, I also think you need to be a great reader. One thing you could do is read a bunch of NFT God threads. I've bookmarked pretty much all of them. So definitely go follow NFT God on Twitter. We really appreciate him being a friend of the show and always showing love and coming on to talk about NFTs and how, you can start building a playbook to maybe, learn some new tools for the bull market. So thanks, NFT God.
Always a pleasure being here, anytime.
And that's the video for today, guys. Thank you again to NFT God for joining. Make sure to subscribe to his newsletter. And while you're at it, why don't you just click subscribe on my channel as well. Give this video a thumbs up, type a little comment, say pew pew, say gang gang. Send me a little token of your love. I appreciate it, guys. I love you so much. Just remember to say gang gang.